Hey y'all, I wanted to go through. I was looking on TCG Player the other day, and I noticed there were a lot of cards that were spiking from previous sets. And rather than get caught fishing for cards later on, I wanted to kind of get a list of cards from Crystal Dominion and Opus 14 that if I had the money to buy, I would buy a playset of right now, because I think these cards are very likely to go double or even triple in price once the new set drops. So here is my list of 10 cards from the last two sets you should be picking up right now. So first off, I think every player should have a playset of Porum if they have any intent of ever playing a water deck. I think this card is too generic, it's too good. Assuming you don't need the other Porum, the one that recurs summons, this is always going to end up in a deck. It's a very powerful effect that tends to play very nicely against the perpetual value that the current meta is really focused around. I also think if you have any interest in fire decks, I would grab 2 to 3 copies of Palom. It's a $4 card. Again, this is a top tier meta deck when paired with his sister. But I think even in just mono fire, the idea that you could plop this in as a 1 or 2 of to give all of your fire summons and pings just a little bit of extra reach that also is a scaling threat your opponent has to deal with. I think it's just a card we're going to see a fair amount in the future until a better Palom gets printed, and there's not a lot of competition outside of the backup for the name. I think everybody should pick up a playset of Robel Akbel. You can maybe get away with 2, but this is one of just the best generic removal cards in the game, and it's going up very quickly in price. I would not be surprised if this be a $15 card once the new set is further in rotation. Everybody should get a playset of Brynhildr. It's a $1 hero, it's the most expensive hero from the set, and if you look at heroes from previous sets that end up in a top tier meta threat, like the Tifa or Sarah, all of these cards, instead of being $1, end up being $9 to $10. I think this very easily could be a $5 card by the end of the Opus, and by the end of the next Opus, I think it'll be a $10 to $15 card. So I would get my playset of Brynhildr now if I were a betting person, because again, you see it's $1 right here, and it goes very quickly, $2, $3, $3. There's just not enough of this on the market for as generic and as commonly as you see this card in fire decks. I'd pick up a playset of Rydia. I think this one's a little bit iffy because I think that this requires more of a specific deck. I don't think it's as generic as it was when we first saw the card. But there's a good chance if you're playing an Earth deck, you're going to want a copy of this card, or a couple copies of it. Log 6, I would say to get a playset of as well. I didn't rate this card very highly when I first saw it, but I think the ability to dig through your deck and replace itself is just extremely powerful, and I think crystals are getting easier and easier to generate, so that crystal to do the effect is becoming less and less of an issue as time goes on. I think you should consider getting a copy of Cloud from Opus 14 now. It is going up very quickly. It's a big name character, and there's just not a lot on market before it really starts to spike. I think you should get a copy of Shinryu. If you didn't get one already, you kind of missed the boat a little bit. I got mine for about $4 when the set released, and it is $8. This is showing up as a one-of in a lot of decks. I think it'll go up over time. In general, I think any generic Legend White Dark you should just have a copy of in case you want to experiment with it. I would pick up a copy of Omega at $1. I think this is a pretty fair price for a card that could see a nice niche as a meta tech in the future. I don't think it's a mind-blowingly powerful card. I think it's a lot worse than we initially thought, but I still think this is something to keep an eye on in the future, because it will show up probably, potentially. Any light dark card that is generic enough to not be a build-around, I would always pick up a copy or 2 of. Similarly, the Opus 12 Lena is somewhere on this page, I want to say. Right here, I just grab a copy of this. The effect is just generically decent. She's overstated, and any deck wants to revive forwards out of the break zone. If you're wondering why this is a thing, I had this pulled up. Titan is totally gone, and you look at Opus 14, so many of the cards from just one set ago just don't exist on TCG Player. Garland is a $20 card, that Cloud is 15, Alcid is 18. If you didn't get a lot of these, you kind of missed the boat on them. Bismarck is gone, Leviathan is completely gone. There are no Garland full arts, so looking through here, a couple other cards I would say to grab if you have a chance. I've got Typhon pulled up. Get yourself a playset of Typhon, because I don't really see this card falling out of favor. Probably 2 to 3 copies if you have any interest in a win deck. Other cards that are going to show up a lot. Susano is an $8 card. It's not getting any worse. I would get this unless you're content with running Philia. I think Shiva, Lady of Frost might be a one of in a lot of ice decks. And you could do this for a lot of other sets. Just look and see where the power cards are that you might want. Rosa is another one. She's going up a little bit. Disject, I'd consider getting a playset of sooner rather than later. Yeah, any of these generic power cards are just, they're going to show up eventually. Get a playset of Lakshmi if you haven't. You can do this for pretty much any set. So you got Opus 13, and look for the generic power cards that haven't spiked in price. And I did that. Live editing done cheap. I did it again. Remove Opus 14. Opus 13, I would say, we're going to get past the first page of cards. You see how Sarah spiked to $10? This is where I'd expect to see Hilda get to after a little bit. White Tiger or Lassie Nimbus at $5. Every deck that cheats this in makes it look broken. I would go ahead and grab a playset of this card if you have the opportunity to. That is just way too cheap for the power level of this card. Philia at $1, and always nice to get some board wipes. Titania is another card that gets cheated in a lot. Always really powerful. This Lightning, if Lightning ever becomes a good deck again, I think this is going to compete for the premier removal in the format. Oracle of Light at 78 cents is definitely worth considering. But yeah, just kind of look through, see the cards that are power cards, especially if they're lower on listings. Anything that's got fewer than about 10 listings has a very good chance of spiking in the future. So I would keep an eye out for any cards like that. Opus 12 cards I would consider. Beatrix is down relatively low. I think she's starting to fall out even in Knight stacks a lot that I've been playtesting, but she's still a good card. She'll show up. This Gilgamesh Legend, if Lightning is ever good, this card's going to be a part of it. This could easily become a $10 card if it's not reprinted. And yeah, you see again, Neo X-Death, Locke, Kryl, Amaterasu is on the first page as a $20 hero. I wouldn't expect to see Brynhildr get to that level, but I mean, it's showing up as often, so keep an eye on it. I would say also keep an eye out on any of these full arts. Like I've seen Ashitara will do some fun stuff. Princess Goblin, $14 for a full art, it's not too bad. Fenrir full art, Kryl full art. These are probably about as low as they're going to get before they would go up again, I would think. So yeah, if you guys enjoyed this, I'll go ahead and make a shopping list as well for the new set, so you guys can know exactly which cards you should be getting when it drops and which cards I would say you probably can wait on a little bit. Thanks for watching, everybody.